The story of these two children is actually a story about free speech, or the death of it. It's a story about how the mainstream media is more interested in pushing an agenda than giving you balance and truth. How it continues, despite Leveson, to act with impunity. Is the media held to account for what they report? Have Piers Morgan or Jeremy Vine been held to account? No. It's a story about how the law is being manipulated and exploited by the far left and Islamists to destroy the lives of anyone who speaks out against the accepted so-called progressive, so-called liberal narrative. Or about the poisonous influence of Islam's Sharia law in our society. Is the law fit for purpose? No. And it's a story about our government and judiciary's disdain for free speech and the truth, and the lengths that they will go to in order to silence dissent, especially with its new and increasing powers. Is our government being held accountable for its actions? No. Is the judiciary independent of political influence? You've seen all the evidence. You decide. Whether you agree with my politics is irrelevant. When dissent is crushed, free speech dies, and governments move one step closer to tyranny. The lawyers know the truth. Even Jamal's father, Jihad, he knows the truth about his son. They all knew the truth and were using Jamal to further their agenda, regardless of the consequences for Jamal. They continued to pursue the case, which incidentally has caused my divorce and bankruptcy. My ex-wife had to choose between her marriage to me and the safety of our children. I'm glad she chose our children. We're still best mates. You see, Jamal's lawyers told me very early on, if I apologised and paid them 50 grand, they'd drop their case. If you're watching this, you know the decision I made. I won't apologise for reporting what I was told, for what I believe to be true, for standing up for Bailey, a young lad unjustly vilified by pretty much everyone. But in silencing dissent, are the media and our government any different to the governments they criticise so much? China, Russia, Iran, immigration, COVID, Brexit. If it doesn't fit the narrative, you will not hear the alternative view. And where else have we seen this? Where else have the media, politicians, police and social services hidden for truth for decades, fearful of being called racist? Grooming gangs. That's where. A cover-up of such horrific cost to thousands of young girls in towns and cities across our country. And nowhere worse than under the stewardship of Councillor Shabir Pandor's Kirklees Council. You see, hiding the truth doesn't protect community cohesion. It does the total opposite. It undermines trust in public institutions. It stokes resentment and conflict in our communities. Tragically, those who lead us don't seem to have the moral clarity or courage to speak the truth. They cause the division that they're trying to prevent. People ask me, was it worth it? Yeah, it was worth it. The truth is always worth defending. I'm still here. If you were born in the United Kingdom, you've already won the lottery of life. An inheritance from our parents and grandparents of freedom, equality under English law and democracy. If we allow ourselves to be silenced, that inheritance is rendered worthless. What legacy will we leave for the children and grandchildren who come after us? None of us can afford to let free speech die. We cannot and we will not be silenced.
If you've just watched this film, you've seen something that they worked tirelessly to hide. They didn't want you seeing it, which means they're going to come for me even more. Who knows where I am when you're watching this film now? What I'd ask is, they've taken my security and my stability. The one thing that allows me to continue to fight is knowing my children are safe, knowing they have stability and security in their lives. If you can support me by supporting them, that makes me able to work. You can support me at www.supporttommy.com. I can continue shining light on truth and can continue exposing corruption. I thank you in advance for your support. That support will go directly to my family so I can continue to do the work I do with a peace of mind, knowing they're okay. Thank you for your support. If you're in America and what you've seen in this film bothers you, and you want to prevent it happening in your country, you actually have organisations that are willing to fight against it. One of those organisations you should check out is Justice for All, J4A.US. You actually have organisations and people willing to fight against these injustices, something we don't have in Great Britain.